From Josh, oh my gosh, I've seen fathers screaming and begging at the doors of abortion clinics not to kill their child. Imagine how it destroys them. Okay, this is something we were planning to cover anyway, because I know, Lydia, you had some hot takes recently about the topic.
I have apparently very hot takes on abortion. I was raised in a conservative house, but I have 100% made being pro-life my hill to die on because I think it is very important. I love and appreciate the idea of standing up for people who don't have anyone to speak for them. And I think that you can't find anybody who is more voiceless than someone who literally, doesn't have a voice box or can't form any kind of words. So the concept of speaking up for unborn people is really positive in the current culture. It's also extremely rare. What I ended up concluding about abortion is that it is a cultural problem. And like you said about, like Josh said about fathers at the doors of abortion clinics, that really breaks my heart. But it hits home that it is 100% something that we have to change from the ground up. So you were saying earlier more than once that the government does not love you and the government is not your daddy. This is 100% true. That means that you don't change from the top down. And one of the things I love about my job is that I feel like we're working from the bottom up. We're talking to people right in their living rooms after work or whatever, and we're trying to make them feel like they're not alone. And to me, that is changing culture and trying to make a positive difference in the culture. And I know that almost nobody agrees with me on my views, but a lot of people have disagreed on views like this in the past. Slavery springs to mind for sure. And they believed that slaves were property of the owners. And now people believe that babies are property of their mothers. And this is, again, not technically correct. It's just the current view. And I think that history will vindicate me for sure. But in the meantime, I just will keep working on trying to work from the ground up and trying to persuade people and giving them arguments that they can use against it. Because I don't want anyone to feel unprepared when they go into these conversations. I want you to know everything there is to know because I have done my homework. And if I'd done my homework and it showed me that babies weren't really humans at conception or anything like that, you better believe that I'd be fully pro-choice because it doesn't really make sense if they're not separate humans from conception. But that's what I've concluded. And hopefully the culture will change for the positive and fathers will end up crying outside of abortion clinics because that is horrible.
And also, I feel like the culture has, up until very recently, convinced me like, oh, like men. Right? It's like everything I've been fed over the years. Like most guys, oops, I just wanted to eat it and beat it. I just wanted to and then it's part of this mentality that feeds feminism and like, oh wow, men don't care about me. Like I had a spicy tweet too, like I think it was something along the lines of like, if women picked sex partners as if they were picking the father of their child, you would probably pick better. Yeah. And men who weren't picked would probably go, oh, I guess I need to step it up and get a job and like move out of my parents' house and like be more of a catch, right? And that's the thing is like we all have slipped and just. I'm here. Okay, so we've all slipped and right. People who are hot will always get banged, but the idea of I think it should be a conversation earlier, like if you're a girl, do you want kids? Like, because if you do, don't waste 10 to 15 years having fun.
Yeah, don't waste time. I can't emphasize that enough. And this is something that the culture makes us think that we can do. They'll tell you that you can work and that you can have it all. And then if you decide you want to have kids later, you can freeze your eggs or whatever. You don't know if that's going to work. The best way to do it is to do it the way that humans have always done it, is to be serious about your relationships right out of the gate and to treat everyone that you date as a potential marriage partner. And one of the things I've always done that people may not know about me, which shouldn't really surprise anyone, but I've always been exceedingly careful about doing things like taking birth control. And I think that every woman would benefit from taking that step, from thinking literally like 2 weeks in the future, right? And being like, okay, I don't have a baby. I can't have a baby right now. Can't afford it. I got a lot to do between now and then. Cool. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get an IUD. I'm going to be on the pill. I'm going to make sure that my partner uses whatever prophylactic they want to use. We're not thinking that far ahead. And I think that women have really come to view abortion as a form of birth control. And I think that it is fundamentally different. And this is something that Jen Psaki mentioned. She's like, this is a very difficult decision. Why? Why is it a difficult decision if you don't think that that is a little human life inside you? That should be like taking, the morning after pill, which I'm not sure what I think about that yet, since I do believe that humans are, alive from conception. But it shouldn't be any different from like making sure that you don't get pregnant to have an abortion, but it's not. And everybody realizes that. And that means that everybody should think deeply about what they're doing. I think part of the problem is that people just don't plan ahead at all anymore. They don't think past being the life of the party, which is going to bite us down the road for sure. And we're already seeing that.
Yeah. And just the women that I know over the years who've had abortions, like luckily I was never even put in a position to have to make that choice, because I honestly think you don't even know where you stand till you're there.
You don't know.
But it's horrible. I know women who have really wanted children that have had to get one because the guy they were with, like that was the moment they realized the guy wasn't serious about them.
Man.
And I'm just like, imagine really wanting kids and you have to, in your mid 30s, get an abortion because this guy's like, what? Yeah, you should really do that. And she moved off like by herself, moved back to Texas, was like, I guess I'm going to try to do this on my own. It was just really sad. And as part of my tweet, I was saying like abortion kind of I said allows, but I guess what I meant was abortion kind of encourages women to waste time with guys that maybe are not really worth it. Because if you have like you could just push a garbage disposal. That's a horrible way to put it, but like
a pretty bad metaphor, but we'll go with it.
You think of it like it's like this willy-nilly, no big deal thing. Oh, it's healthcare. Like, I don't think it's healthcare. I think this is something that you could have
different. First of all, it's something you could have avoided. And second of all, to think of it as nothing more than something like flushing a toilet. If that is the case, then Jen Psaki wouldn't be saying it's a difficult decision. As far as I'm concerned, that's just the bottom line. Everyone knows it's a difficult position. Even Hillary Clinton, she's known for saying it should be safe, legal, and rare. Why should it be rare? Why should it be rare? If it's just like having a tumor removed, then it should be great for the mother. It should be rare because you know that it's wrong. I'm sorry, on some level you have to be like, oh, there really can't be anywhere else that a human comes into existence, if not conception, because there's nothing during pregnancy. You start the ball rolling, and then the ball is rolling for the next 9 months, for the next, however many years. And if you remove the ball being started rolling, cool, good for you. If you don't want to have kids, that's a way to deal with that problem. Instead of starting the ball rolling and be like, oh, holy crap, I got to stop this. I got to find a way to make this not happen. But yeah, I don't know. That is a deep cultural issue, and that gets right to our relationships, and it goes into feminism, and it's very complicated, which is why I think that we haven't agreed yet. So hopefully we'll...
Right. If you don't value your relationships with the opposite sex and you don't value that time together, then it's more likely you're not going to value the life that's created out of that.
Right. Unfortunately.
And the easier it's going to be for you to be like, all right, yeah, let's take, I hate that people call it take care of it. It's literally the opposite. You're literally not taking care of it.
I wouldn't call it that. It's a little bit like those studies that say that people who eat avocados are going to live longer. That's not necessarily true. It's possible. In fact, what I think is probable is that the type of person who wants to eat an avocado for their health is going to be the type of person who's taking other steps to not be unhealthy and die early. Just like I think that someone who chooses to have an abortion is probably also the kind of person who's living what we used to call in the hospital high-risk lifestyle, whether that means drugs or just being promiscuous or not taking their relationships seriously. Very sad. That is the whole culture. The whole culture is like that, this immediate gratification, convenience, instant hookup type thing. Distressing. But trying to solve the problem of abortion would mean solving like 58 other problems. So hopefully we can get there. But
Right, because in order to get on the same footing, we have to have the same value system.
Right. And we have to think that something like being married is good. We have to think that having kids is good. We have to think that children are a blessing. And we have to think that we're up to raising them, which means the economy needs to be good. We can't be drowning in student loan debt. Like, I understand everything that comes into this. I had a conversation with my mom, who's she's, I wouldn't say old fashioned, but she's definitely conservative, way more conservative and way more religious. And she was like, I just don't understand why girls don't want to stay at home with their families. And it was a very compassionate comment. And I was touched, but I was like, Mom, we can't. We really can't. Like, we have to worry about all this stuff. Even now, I mean, wages are going up, but I was commenting to my husband just the other day. I was like, man, I wish I could just make, $40,000, $30,000 a year and be fine and have everything be taken care of. As far as I'm concerned, that would be better. And I think that's kind of what, like, you're approximately my age. You're a little bit older than me. But I think that's what our parents were raised with, was being able to go out without a college degree and earn this kind of living that enabled mom to stay home and take care of kids. And I think that was better. I'm really sorry we've lost that. I feel like the whole structure is just a house of cards, honestly. It's not the way it should be. But.
Right. Like, you need to have two incomes just to be able to afford childcare. But wait, if one, like, that's something recently my brother and his wife, they realized, like, hey, it would make more sense for actually my brother to stay home with the kids. And he's been doing that for about a year, which I never, if you had told me when we were little, like growing up, like which of the kids is going to quit their job to stay home with the kids? Oh God. Like,
I think that's great.
Yeah.
That's great, though, because
he's such a good dad.